WWE NXT Battleground 2024 results. It was a fun show. It was a quick show. It was a historic show. And it's historic for two different reasons. And I have a major, major problem with this show, which I will get to in a minute. Now, of course, the top matches on the card, you had an influence of TNA with Jordynne Grace challenging Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship. You also had former AEW star Ethan Page making his NXT in-ring debut and taking on Trick Williams. You also had a first ever champion crown. So a lot of interesting things on this card. And they opened it up in a big way because you had a ladder match to crown the first ever NXT Women's North American Champion from the UFC Apex Center. Quick note on the environment. A lot of people crapped on this announcement when it was first made. It was fine. It felt like a PC show. Let's be real. I would like for these specials to be more than, held in more than front of, say, 2,500, 3,000 people. I would like it to be in a 5,000 seat arena, but it is what it is. So you had Solo Ruco, Lash Legend, Jada Parker, Fallon Henley, Mission, and Kiana Jordynne. So it was a spot fest, including a horrific spot for Lash Legend. So all of the women, they picked up Lash and they tossed her out of the ring and she went crashing onto a ladder. It sucked. There was a moment where Jordynne hit a split-legged moonsault off the top rope to Parker and then retrieved the championship. So Kiana Jordynne is your first ever NXT North American champion for the women. And it's like a secondary title for the women, right? It's like an IC or United States Championship for the women in NXT. So that's good for them. NXT Tag Team Champions Nathan Frazier and Axiom, they went over the OC. This was one of the best OC matches from Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson that I've seen in their entire WWE run thus far. That's how good this match was. Now, it obviously helped that they worked with Nathan Frazier and Axiom here, but these guys put on their working boots and they shined up nicely. So coming down the stretch, there was a bunch of near falls with the heels. Anderson hit a cutter off the top rope for 2 on Axiom. Then Axiom, he fought back. They got rid of Gallows outside the ring. Anderson received a Spanish fly off the top rope from Axiom. And then Frazier hit a Phoenix Splash on Anderson for the win to retain the NXT Tag Team Championships. Then you had the Nets match, which was quite interesting, if I'm going to be honest. But they actually made it work because it was the NXT Underground match. It was Shayna Baszler and Lola Vice. And they dimmed down the lights. Both girls had MMA gloves on. Shayna had a really cool costume. It was white with blue, and then from the feet up to about the knees was covered in what was supposed to be blood. I thought that was really cool. Lola just wore her typical ring gear. As you would, figure in such a type of match, I'm not a huge fan of this, but I understand why they did it. 2 former female MMA fighters inside the UFC Apex. I get it, but a fake MMA fight, I'm never into it. But they made it work for what it was. A bunch of suplexes and submission holds and head kicks and grounds and pounds and stuff like that. Anyways, so at one point, Shane actually had her in a triangle choke, and that looked like it was going to be the finish, but somehow, some way, Vice got out of it. And in the end, it was Vice. She dropped her with a spinning back fist, then rained down some strikes to win. And I thought a very, very, very cool moment in this match came after the bell when Shayna held on to the referee's leg to sell the KO. I thought that was pretty cool because you'll see that in MMA fights, but Lola Vice went over. NXT North American Champion Oba Femi, who is going to be such a major freaking star in WWE, he retained his NXT North American Championship over Joe Coffey and Wes Lee in a triple threat. These guys worked their butts off. Oba Femi, phenomenal. This dude, he can do anything in a freaking pro wrestling ring when it comes from a strength standpoint. Wesley, he can do any move ever asked of anyone, and Joe Coffey is just a throwback brawler. So their dynamic just absolutely gelled perfectly. I really did love this match. But in the end, it was Oba catching a flying Lee with a slam and then hit a powerbomb to Joe Coffey for the win. So that was pretty cool. Co-main event, and here is a major problem. This should have been the main event. NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez putting the championship on the line against TNA Knockouts Champion Jordynne Grace. It should have been the main event. We knew going into it this was going to be the better match. We know coming out of it, it was the better match. They should have won. And I don't know if it's because they felt like the NXT Championship should have headlined. I don't know if it was because, well, we need a happy-go-lucky, feel-good ending. I don't know what that was, but these women earned the right. It was a historical match, which should have headlined. It was a great match. It really, really was. Grace will be signed by WWE whenever her contract with TNA is up. She is that freaking good. So they did their match. Near the finish, you had Tatum Paxley. She got the barricade, grabbed the Knockouts title, tried to pretend like she was going to go to the back with it. Ash by Elegance, a.k.a. former WB star Dana Brooke, she showed up. It really didn't matter. It was just a spot because Grace ended up laying both of them out. When she got back in the ring, she got caught by Perez, who hit Pop Rocks for the win and went on her way. Main event, as I said, a bad decision to do this, but they did it anyways. NXT champion Trick Williams, he went over a debuting former AEW star in Ethan Page. Page dominated the most of it. I don't see Page as a main eventer. Williams is so freaking green, and he's the top champion, so he really needs to get in there with guys that can carry him. And Ethan did his best, but the match kind of just fell flat for me. I think Page has a bright future in WWE. I just don't know what that future is. Like, he's not a superstar or anything like that, but he has something, and the charisma is there. He's lacking something. I just can't put my finger on it. But anyway, so Page hit a razor edge for 2, but out of nowhere, Williams caught him with his finisher and won the match. So that was the main event. That was the show. Like I said, it lasted less than 3 hours, which I'm always a fan for. Let me know down in the comments there below, what do you think about this